Hi there, a short repair video. I got this used Fluke 187 from eBay for a very reasonable price because it has problems, as you can see. The problem is that the rightmost socket doesn't make a reliable contact, and since that one is used to measure volts, ohms, diode and so on, this otherwise very nice meter is pretty much unusable except for current measurements. There is a workaround as a temporary fix while waiting for parts. With that, it's kind of usable most of the time, but it's very fragile and one has to be extremely careful inserting or extracting plugs into the rightmost socket. A cold or broken solder joint, I hear you say. That's what I thought too, but no, resoldering did not help. The workaround is to stuff extra foam into the rear housing above that socket. When assembled, that extra foam presses the PCB against the socket, and when the moon is right and the stars align, it makes contact. Sort of. Although only one socket has a problem, they only come in a set, so the whole input socket assembly needs to be replaced. And finally the part ordered from SG Electronics in the UK arrived. It took slightly over 1 month, but it was just £10 including VAT plus shipping. That's about $12. Just to demonstrate that this is not a solder joint problem, a continuity test between the banana plug in the socket and the socket pins on the rear. No continuity whatsoever. The path must be broken before it reaches the PCB. Apart from that the body of the connector assembly is now red instead of black, it looks like a perfect match. All that's needed is removing the old socket assembly. Well, it was a struggle, but using lots of solder wick to suck up solder and gently rocking of the assembly did the trick. My guess is that a normal, non-shrouded plug in that socket suffered a violent sideways knock, for example when the meter fell and hit the ground with a plug making contact first. That sideways knock simply sheared the connecting pins off the PCB. It probably would not have happened with a shrouded plug because the shroud surrounding and supporting the socket would have transferred much of the force to the case. But for a standard 4mm banana plug, the socket is basically a freestanding pipe that is only fixed with the 2 pins at the bottom with no other support. I never thought of this before, but it seems many multimeter socket constructions are quite vulnerable for that sort of accident. Good to know. The big question is, does it fit? Well, the socket pins align correctly, but there are 2 plastic pins that need to go into corresponding holes on the PCB and they appear slightly out of alignment. Better check first if I'm putting this the wrong way around. To make sure, I first put it in the housing to check where the black socket should be. Okay, now transfer to the PCB without turning it. Trying to locate the pins is not easy because I'm trying to do it within the camera focus. But there we are. Now the plastic pins snap in perfectly. I really had it the wrong way around in the first time. With the new socket assembly soldered in, I repeat the continuity test from before, and this time there is proper continuity. And repeating the volts test from before, I kind of have to get used that the rightmost terminal no longer needs featherlight operation, but as expected, the meter works now without problems. A note on the 187's LCD. It appears not the easiest to read. In part, that's because its contrast and viewing angle isn't as good as newer displays and because the cover window shows a fair amount of wear in form of tiny scratches. It's not a problem when using it, more one for the camera at some angles. The brand new input sockets look nice and shiny. I have tested them all including the leads warning for current ranges and it's all working as it should. For anybody struggling with the same problem, this is the part number which is also for the Fluke 189 and for some other Fluke 87 models. I leave a link to SG Electronics in the description. The spare parts are not on their website, you must contact them by email, but they were extremely helpful in finding the right part. Overall, I'm very happy with the repaired Fluke 187, which is quite an impressive meter. I have more repair videos planned, so don't forget to subscribe if you not have already and maybe consider becoming a Patreon. That would really help the channel. The link is in the description. As Patreon you get always early access to videos, a blog and other exclusive content. Thanks for watching.